Hi, Paul. Good to be with you. I am always so happy to connect with my friends and family there from East Africa. Uh, I'm one of the pioneers there in terms of neolife, going back to 1996. And I've built up such a warm feeling, a warm relationship with you guys that the only thing I miss is being there with you in person, to see your lovely warm smiles, to be able to hug and touch and greet and talk. But thankfully, through the technology, we can at least connect this way. Now, this is a session following up from the workshops I did in March. We've done a couple of them already, and I said the purpose of these is to look back at some of what we covered then. And the reason for doing that is that we often don't pick up or learn or internalize things the first time we hear it. Now, much of what you heard at the workshops wouldn't have been for the first time, but still, I found that sometimes it takes time for us to internalize a thought or a value. And until we do that, knowing it doesn't really help us. It's living what we know we should. So it's based on understanding, having insight. And I feel so blessed that for 40 years I've been exposed to personal growth and mentors and teachers, world-class people from all over the world. So what I'm sharing with you is not showing off my knowledge. It's knowledge that I got from other people. And because I see the value in it, I really share it with you for the one purpose is I want each of you to become the success and beyond that to become a really significant person in terms of helping making our world a better place. I believe that's what we've been put here on earth to do. And I know we can do it, but then we need to have the understanding. We need to act on the understanding of what is right and wrong, what is beneficial and what is not. Now, today, as Paul indicated, we're going to talk about brands or branding. Now, that is so vital to any company to develop a brand that is recognized, that people attach to, because the brand has so much to do with a company's success or lack of success. So let us touch very briefly on the power of brands. The first thing is a brand is meant to identify a product. If you looked at any of these that I'm showing you now, immediately you could identify them and know this is what the logo stands for. Now, Neolife has its own logo, the corn sheaf, or the wheat sheaf, should I say. But immediately somebody sees the logo, they have the impression of what is behind the logo. The next thing is brands often express a value or what the product stands for, the mission. And then if you look at an example, Audi, for instance, Vorsprung durch Technik, they're saying that they stay ahead and their main focus is focusing on technology and developing technology. So in that way, it expresses their value and their mission. Then a brand differentiates companies from others. If you take, for instance, Mercedes or any of the German cars, those brands, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, as opposed to Chinese brands. in your own mind, you probably have quite a differential between those. And that is the power of a brand. A brand makes a company stand out, or it should. That's the idea. And then a brand communicates benefits. That is so important because that is what people are looking for. How would I benefit if I associate myself with this brand? Because what happens is, unless a brand taps into people's emotions, it is not going to be successful. The next point is, and that the two go together, it should evoke desires. Now, again, take Mercedes as an example. That's a brand that many people aspire to. It gives them a sense of having achieved if you drive a specific kind of car. You see, that's what I'm talking about. The fact is that all of us buy emotionally. We might not think so, but what happens is we buy emotionally and then we rationalize why we bought the specific product or joined the specific company. So I made the mistake so often in the past of getting with people. I'm going to explain the business to them, and I jump in showing the circles and the compensation plan and what, and completely ignoring the emotional side, the needs of people. Now, thankfully, these days, there's such a lot of emphasis put on first discovering people's needs. Why would they want to use our product? Why would they want to join our company? What is their need? What are their wants? What are their desires? Because those are the things that are going to get people involved as customers or as distributors. Not the features and the facts and the figures about the products and the marketing plan. Now, if we look at the Neolife brand, we've always said to get people to live a healthier and happier life. Now, if I heard it correctly at our convention, we're now adding, we empower everyone to live healthier and happier lives. The idea of empowering. So if the Neolife logo comes up, that is what eventually should stick in people's minds. So if we briefly go through the markings of a brand that I mentioned, Neolife's brand identifies a service of empowering people to a better life. The values it expresses is, again, empowering. The mission is to help people better their lives. And the difference between Neolife and other companies is based in nature, backed by science, scientific advisory board, and a number of other things. Now, those are the things that should come to people's mind when they see the Neolife logo. Next, it communicates benefits, empowering people, helping them have a better life, healthier, happier, financially stronger or free, living their dreams. So when people see the Neolife logo or hear of Neolife, that is ideally what should come to mind, the benefits, because we need to tap into the emotions and the desires. And everybody we deal with has a need to better their situation, whatever it is, financially, health-wise, whatever. But beyond that, their wants, the things that they'd want to do if they had a little bit more money. And then beyond that, the dreams. So we need to realize that the Neolife brand should be a brand that not only identifies the company, but expresses its values and how it's different and how people will benefit from it. But now the catch is that we are the brand ambassadors for Neolife. So it's up to us. You see, Neolife doesn't advertise because, for one thing, that's very, very costly. I haven't got recent facts and figures, but I know that making, for instance, a Coca-Cola advert for 30 seconds, it costs a ton of money. And then to have it viewed on television in prime time costs another ton of money. And the fact is, you can't advertise once or twice. It's got to be continuous, because the idea is that that brand gets internalized by people. They see the logo, they hear the name, and immediately they have the association of what that brand stands for. Now, apart from the fact that it's costly, it wouldn't really work because our products are not sold in shops. If people were exposed to it through advertising and they now went to a shop or a pharmacy and they can't find the product, that would be a negative. So the cost saving that the company has by not advertising, as well as the cost saving from cutting out all the middlemen that you'd find in normal business, that is to our advantage in the sense that the company has more money to spend on research and development and manufacturing high-quality products. That is why you find companies who advertise a lot. I'm often skeptical about that. Why do they advertise so much, thinking that their product can't be too good? Now, in many cases, that's true. In many cases, you even find products that are bad for people. I remember when I was younger, we used to have adverts for cigarettes. And there was one brand that they used to show these beautiful people on yachts and in the Mediterranean and, you know, the good life. And that image of the good life was then associated with smoking the specific brand of cigarette, which actually was bad for you and was going to kill you. So you see, advertising can really be negative in this sense that it promotes something that's not really of value. But just through the sheer repetition and the emotional impact it makes, it gets people to buy into the product or service. Now, with Neolife, that's not true. Neolife stands for real value, for really benefiting people, and therefore we should be happy that the company doesn't spend money on things like advertising, but rather on the infrastructure. Also, the nature of direct selling, such as we are involved in, has the benefit for the customer that not only do they get a better product at a better price than they would have if they had to buy that same product in a shop or a pharmacy, but they also get the personalized attention of a distributor who is or should be knowledgeable and can guide them into the use of the product and use of the right products. You know, in South Africa, we've got the pharmacies and so on with stacks of nutritional supplements. If you went in there and you had to speak to any of the shop assistants and said to them, well, which is the best omega-3? They probably don't know. They might sell you one that sells you omega-3, 6, and 9 in one tablet, which is totally wrong, but that sounds good. Or people buy the lowest costing product, which is often junk. You know, in South Africa, they say 65% of omega-3s in the shops are rancid as they stand on the shelves. But if it's advertised well enough, if it's presented in a beautiful bottle and it doesn't cost a lot, people fall for it. Our customers have the value of personal attention and personal education. But now, while Neolife doesn't advertise in the traditional sense of the word, it is for us now to project to people outside why Neolife is different and better and how they will benefit from Neolife, either the products or the service. And we do that by word of mouth. Now, word of mouth costs nothing compared to traditional advertising. And these days with social media, our word of mouth is boosted or expanded so much. You know, you put something on Twitter or Facebook and half of the world hears what you're saying. So in that sense, we are so well placed. But, you know, there's a negative side to that, because if we as brand ambassadors somehow mess up, we mess up the brand. We present the brand in a way which is not attractive. I remember some years ago, Amway, which happens to be the biggest network marketing company in the world and which is a respected company. I respect them. They have good products, not as good as ours. Our marketing plan pays better and sooner. So although they're big and respected, what happened, Amway was introduced to South Africa some years ago by people from Australia. But the way they presented Amway had caused such a backlash that for a long time afterwards, if you spoke to somebody or I spoke to somebody about potentially looking at the business, the response 9 times out of 10 would have been, as long as it's not Amway. Now, you see, we need to work towards a situation where people don't say, oh, as long as it's not Neolife. You know, I heard about that Neolife and those Neolife people. I don't want to have anything to do with that. So how we present as brand ambassadors has got all to do with the welfare of the company. And really, we must understand that if the company is accepted as a valued, trusted, and sought-after company, that is to our benefit. But it's not to our benefit if people say, oh, no, not that Neolife thing. And who's responsible for either this or that? It is us, because we are the face of Neolife. We are Neolife's advertisements that people are faced with daily. So that brings us to what is called your personal brand. Because your personal brand and my personal brand, jointly as a group, that is what is going to make or break the Neolife brand. So if we look at personal brand, what is the image we present? Now, we all know that we must dress smartly. And you guys, I'm always so impressed when I come to function and I see how well you're dressed. You see, that's what we call image management. Now, image management by itself is not bad if it's done correctly. Dress for success, projecting an image of success, that is part of it. What are the values that we hold? I'll touch on that a bit more, because that underlies everything else we do. Our personal brand is how are we different from the next person? Now, just here a note of really, really serious caution. That should never be that you run down anybody else in your life. Say, oh, I'm so much better. My team is so much better. Don't go with that team. Come with my team. That is a sin against the company, against Neolife. You don't differentiate yourself by telling people or projecting how bad other people are. You should project how good you are, and you should be able to back that up by your skill, by your integrity, by how you do business. You see, the German cars aren't seen as better than, for instance, the Chinese cars, just because they say so, but because of the integral value in the product. And that's where our personal value must be of such a nature that we stand out as valuable, sought-after people, not somebody that should be avoided. And how can we benefit the customer, the new distributor? That is part of our personal brand, how we project. Remember, when people look at the business for the first time, they're skeptical. They invariably think, what is in it for you? You know, must I work for you? What will you get from me? And we need to be able to project without just saying it, but to project that, no, it's about you, how we can make you and help you benefit. And touching again on the emotions, and getting people to want to be part of you versus, saying, oh, I'm not sure about this person. So developing our personal brand is so important for ourselves, but also for the whole of the company. And it is true, and we've spoken about that, speaking about the subconscious, that we cannot consistently act in a manner that violates our deep-set subconscious self-image and beliefs. You see, if the motives that we appear to have clashes with our real motives, we are not going to come across as believable, as people that can be trusted. You see, they say we cannot fool all of the people all of the time. And the fact is that if, for instance, I'm deeply, deeply, deeply selfish, if that were the case, but now I'm trying to project that I'm the selfless, caring person, it's going to be a strain on myself, and it's going to show. You know, I know some very, very grumpy people who always complain and criticize and condemn. You hardly ever hear anything good from them. But then from time to time, they're thinking, well, we should really try to be nice. And then when they're trying to be nice, they're nice for a while. But it doesn't last. It cannot last because the internal programming clashes with the external image that they're trying to project. And that is why it's so important for us to remember that our inner life determines our outer life. And that's why we need to work almost harder on ourselves, and some of us need to do that more than others. But we need to work harder on ourselves than on the business in a sense. So I want to challenge you in looking at your personal brand. And you know, this, as I was preparing for this session, this so speaks to me as well. I need to do that, and I'm going to do that, and sit down and make a list of my values. Now, what one should not do is to now imagine what your values should be. That would be being dishonest with yourself. It's between you and yourself. What do you really value? Do you value money? That's not in itself bad, but it could be. You value your family. You might value your car. You know, every time I get in my car, well, almost every time, I say, thank you, God, for a nice car. I value the car because without this opportunity, I wouldn't have had it. I value the house we live in, the area we live in. I value my children and my grandchildren. You and I both have to make sure what are our real values. And then next thing is, we need to ask ourselves, what is my purpose in life? Why am I on earth? Just to survive? Just to pay the bills and hope for the best? Or is there more to it? And you know, we as part of Neolife, our purpose is much bigger than just surviving. It's much bigger than us just becoming successful. Although that's good when we do, it should go beyond even success to significance, where the day we die, lots and lots and lots of people will mourn and say, well, we've really lost a hero because you and I've made a difference in people's lives and empowered people, uplifted people, and made the world a better place. What is your purpose? Now, again, not what you think your purpose should be. I want you to look at, as you where you are right now? How would you define your purpose? And then your attitudes. Now, I use the plural because it's attitude about yourself, about people, about religion, about the company, about your country, about the world, about people. Again, it's not a question of what your attitudes should be. Look at them. What are they? And then remember those form your habits and your actions, which brings out the outcome. And our inner life, remember, determines our outer life. So these determine this, that determines the outcome. So again, what are your values? What is your purpose and your attitudes? If I can get each of you together with myself to sit down and spend time on really defining these, whatever they may be, without judging, just doing it, we will be a long way towards moving in the right direction. Because what we know is we try and manage our brand. But Jeff Bezos of Amazon said a thing that really struck me. He says, your brand is what other people say about you when you are not in the room. Your brand is what other people say about you when you are not in the room. You see, we try and manage our image. We try and show people we're this wonderful person, this caring person, selfless, honest, etc., etc. But the real person somehow shines through. We cannot hide the truth. And other people start sensing, they pick up, as they say, the vibe of how we really are. And our brand is not what we want them to think it is, or how we are, or what we hope our brand will look like. Our brand is what other people say about us when we are not in the room. And that's actually a very sobering thought. Now, we've got two sets of values, the Neolife values and your values and my own values. And if there is a disconnect between the two, we have a problem personally. Our personal business will have a problem and challenges, but we are also going to cause problems for the company. So our job is to align ourselves with the Neolife values. Look at the values and the purpose and attitudes that you've seen. This is me. And hopefully it already aligns with the Neolife values, or it might largely align with the Neolife values, or maybe it's not really aligned with the Neolife values. Now and then, but generally not. And that is where the emphasis on personal development comes in. Personal development is not just about learning the skills, not just about understanding the business. You know, the nice thing about skills is that you can easily learn that just by repetition. But what we're talking about here, living values, building character, that is not something that you can do with a once-off or even easily. Because what is deep inside of us has a very strong pull. And if that is pulling us away from the Neolife values, then it's not that easy to fix, but it can be fixed. But we need to be then conscious of it. We need to work on it, because on a daily basis, we come into different situations where the values with which you come into that situation is going to determine how you are going to respond, negatively or positively. So let's look at the three of them. The other two are not so much on a personal level. Now, what I've realized when I was busy with this and reading this again, is, we use these as advertising material. We talk about it to impress people. But the point is more deeply that we live this. Now, when I looked at absolute integrity now, how many thousands of times have I said absolute integrity? And suddenly I realized, but I've never focused on the word absolute. So I looked it up in the dictionary, and it says absolute means things like complete, total, utter, no compromise. In other words, absolute is not 90%, it's not 60%, it's 100%, all the time. Integrity, well, that is having your inner values aligned with outer life-based accepted values. Now, what do I mean by that? Take something like honesty. That is an accepted value. Dishonesty may be a value for some people, but it's not generally accepted as a good value. So integrity is having these generally accepted values of a good, healthy life and society, and having that so integrated in your inner being that is how you live. You don't talk honesty, and sometimes you're not honest. Your value is honesty, and that is honesty all the time, absolute. Now, that's a challenge. For me, this is one of the biggest challenges to live with, absolute integrity. Why? Because you and I have one thing in common, human nature. And human nature is tainted. Human nature is broken. That's why we have all the ugly things happening in the world, people murdering people, raping women, abusing children, making war. That's human nature. And we've got to be aware of that and conscious of that we are prone to this negative pull of human nature, which we have to resist each and every time we are in a different situation. So this is a big challenge. At least for me, I hope for you it's not such a big challenge. But I'm sure it is a challenge all the same. The next value is people number one. Now, apart from all moral teaching about that, love your neighbor as yourself, for instance. Apart from the moral teaching, this is what success in network marketing is based on. I'm going to repeat that. This is what success in network marketing is based on. You know as well as I do that we move up to the extent that we help other people move up. Now, how stupid is that to try and keep somebody down, to work against the downline? Now, you might say, well, who does that? You'd be surprised who does that. I'm surprised that even people highly educated, people that you would never expect that from, do that kind of thing. Cheat downlines, steal from downlines, lie to downlines. It blows my mind that people cannot understand this and accept this, that this is the basis for success in network marketing. Now, again, human nature makes me number one in my own mind. I've got to resist that. I've got to work against that. I've got to reprogram my mind that I'm a servant. I'm not the VIP. I'm not the important person. But the exciting thing is that what we sow, we reap. What we hand out comes back. I become a VIP. I become an important person because I served, because I keep putting people number one. And when I do reach higher levels and I'm now treated as a VIP and taken on international trips free of charge and all of those things. I need to remain humble and realize that were it not for hundreds and thousands of other people, I would not be where I am. It amazes me that when people move up in the business, they sometimes forget who put them there. The third value is having a long-range vision. You know, the top dollar is, again, you know this, the top dollar is not earned when you're a manager or executive manager or even a director. Top dollar is at 5 diamond. But you don't get to 5 diamond in a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. That's a long-range project. Now, the other day I was sharing the business opportunity with a young guy who's got a job in a stable company, but he was explaining to me how he wants to move up in this company. And I thought, oh, how long will it take you? And there can only be one CEO in any company, one person right at the top. In network marketing, everybody can get to the top. But like with this little guy is thinking his project of moving up in this company is really a long-range vision. Without that, we tend to do things for short-term gain. Like this month, I'm not going to qualify if my downline qualifies. So what do? I somehow mismanage the whole situation so that my downline misses qualification, and I'm happy because I've qualified. But now my downline starts realizing what I've done. The relationship starts breaking down. And quite possibly I could lose that downline. And that person could potentially have become a diamond in my business. And that's why the company focuses on a long-range vision. Build for the future. Don't just build for now. Don't take shortcuts. That's the important thing. Don't take shortcuts, because that is not what is going to get you to where you need to be. So the point of this whole idea of branding is that Neolife is an exceptional brand that we can be so proud of. I so often thank God that Neolife found us. It's a reputable company. We can trust them. Even now, when we have a situation with product shortages, I cannot stress strongly enough how hard the company is working to overcome that. They're not sitting back and waiting for things to happen. They're going more than the extra mile for us. I am so happy to be part of Neolife and not any other company. But you know, that places on me as on you a responsibility to live up to what Neolife stands for. Because inasmuch as my personal brand is not aligned with Neolife's brand and Neolife's values, we are going to miss the success that we could have. We're damaging the business that would give us that success. You know, if I think of the fallout that we've had, like in Kenya some years ago with high-ranking distributors who eventually quit the business, the damage that did to the Neolife brand. And that's done by people like you and me. That could potentially be you or I. And we have this responsibility to build our own brand in a way that it will enhance the brand of Neolife, so that Neolife becomes the company of choice, that Neolife becomes a household name. You know, I remember when we were new in the business, the company was still called Golden Products. In the beginning, in the early 70s, when the company started in South Africa, it was just cleaning products. And people got to know the golden products, the cleaning products. And for so many years, even now, people who used the products those days, I've never had one who ever said differently than, oh, those products are so good. You know, the Golden Product brand was quality, good. And that is what we need to work towards, to make Neolife the company of choice, to make Neolife really the standout company, not just in East Africa, but in Africa and in the world. And in as much as we're part of that, we will benefit beyond our own expectations. So I've shared this with you because these are things that challenges me, and I'm sure it could or it will challenge you as well. And you may remember from the slide I showed you when we did the workshop that in success, only 20% of success is dependent on skills. 80% depends on character. Do we attract people? Do we keep people? Even more importantly, it's one thing to attract them, but it's another thing to keep them. Because if we don't keep people, and we don't keep people, and people don't stay involved, they find they don't want to be with us, then it's like riding in a boat with holes in. We'll never stop bailing out water just to keep afloat. So your character, my character, the brand image that we project is what will make us successful and what will make or work towards helping Neolife be the company it should be. So I say this to you out of care and love. I know there are people who don't like me talking about these things or talking like this. But to me, this is so fundamental. We could be highly skilled talking to people, presenting, following up, launching businesses. But if there is some weakness in our character, some attitudes that are skew, it's always going to be uphill. So, Paul, thank you. And back of you, AJ, thank you for giving me this opportunity of, again, sharing with the team. And accept it that I do it out of love, and I deeply care for you. And my wish for you is that you go beyond success to significance. So thank you, goodbye, and God bless.